like as a country in terms of Zim, our branding, our brand equity? What could we do to improve on our country brand equity?
Thank you so much for that question. We need to give brand Zimbabwe to Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans know better. I always say this, let's remove brand Zimbabwe from politics. It's not a political movement. It's a people thing. We need to put brand Zimbabwe into the hands of Zimbabweans. They know their story. And we have wonderful stories to tell. So that's number one. Create a community of Zimbabweans that tell the Zimbabwean story in their own way. Supported maybe by government, sure. Supported by the corporate sector, sure. But completely owned by Zimbabwe. That's number one. And there are so many things about Zimbabwe that are unique about this country that we just don't know how to sell. We have the Mbira, we have stone sculptures. And I'll give you a very interesting example I use in my trainings. You know the Had Mashona cow? That is one of the best cow breeds in the world. Only found here. It's an 8,000-year-old breed cow, right? That is some of the best qualities you can have on a cow. It's drought resistant, it's pest resistant.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Moments with Nyengeterai. I'm so excited to be back here with you, and the one thing I just want to say is thank you to the community. It's growing, and the comments especially keep them coming. It's so much fun when we have that interaction because it just shows people are watching. Please subscribe, please share, because you're seeing a lot of people are watching but they're not subscribing. So please subscribe and share so we continue to bring you interesting content, interesting guests. And today I have a very, very interesting guest. I was just telling him before we started recording that, wow, I was like, when do we find time to do all these things, you know? Our guest today is Paul. Paul, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nego. Thank you for having me.
Paul, for those people who don't know who you are, please can you just give us a brief introduction of who you are, what's your call to fame?
Okay. The name is Paul. I go by many names.
Okay. What are the other names?
Sorry?
What are the other names?
So, I probably this is the first time I'll reveal this on a podcast. Paul River Williams is not my government name.
Really?
Yes, it's not. It's a pseudonym that I picked up when I first started doing videos online. And it sort of just gained a life of its own.
From where though?
It was completely random.
Really?
It was completely random. I was like, I don't want people Googling me. You know, I didn't want to, be known. And then, it then just took on
its own life.
Yes.
So what's your government name?
All right. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready. Okay. Which any of those?
So the first name is Paul. Yeah. Brezhnev.
What?
Brezhnev.
Okay.
It's a Russian name.
I was about to say.
Yeah. It's a Russian name. Banda. That's
Malawi.
Zambia.
Oh, Zambia.
Yes. Dad's from Zambia.
Okay.
But I grew up here. I'm Zimbabwean. But that's my full government name.
Okay. Before we even go any far, yes. Why did your parents give you a Russian name?
So the old man studied in Russia for a while. And he was very much he loved Russia, I guess.
Okay.
Their politics. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. At school, how did you get around that? I mean,
That's how I then just prefer to be called Paul, because every time you'd introduce, yourself, people would be like, what, where? And then you spend 2 minutes
explaining your Russian name.
Yes.
Because it's very rare. Most black people, especially in Southern Africa, it's either English and Shona English, or whatever local language it is, and English. So Russian. But it's pretty interesting. Maybe that's why you are so interested in terms of what you then decided to do.
Maybe.
There's a reason why your dad did that. So just tell me a bit about your childhood, how you grew up, and how the way you grew up probably influenced what you're currently doing.
All right. So I'm a Havaran, born and bred. I was born in the 80s. I'm not going to tell you when I was born. I was born in the 80s.
But you're a baby compared to some of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
We are children, before independence.
Really?
Yep.
You don't look at...
Pre-independence.
So I was born and bred. My mom is a matron. She's always been a school matron. And my dad was a journalist. He actually came into Zimbabwe as a journalist and worked at the Herald and at Zim Papers, I think, for all his career here, which was about 30 to 40 years. So growing up, there were always books in the house. There was always something to read. There were always newspapers, obviously. Wow. So, you would come home with all the copies of all the newspapers. So, you'd come home with the Herald or the Chronicle. And
wow.
So reading material was always there. Books were always there. And that's how I got fascinated with the world in general, because there was always something at home to read. His gifts to me growing up, were not toys. They were books. And they weren't even like fictional books, like, Hardy Boys, or, he used to buy me proper books.
Wow.
And, I remember he used to have this habit. He would write, at the top, for posterity, and then he would sign it at the bottom. And I was 8. I didn't even know what posterity meant. But I think that was the biggest contribution that, he had in my life, to say, read a lot. So I started getting fascinated with the world, with politics and in current affairs, because that was always in the environment. Yeah. And then my mom was always like, she was very open with me to say, pursue what you want. And I really thank her for that. Even if it's things that she didn't understand, or, how is this going to work out exactly? She was always like, go do it. I've had so many pivots over the years.
Wow.
And she's like, so this is what you've decided to do. Go ahead.
Wow.
So yeah, that was good. So growing up, lots of reading, lots of TV, but not the kind of TV for kids. I was watching a lot of CNN at the time. Lots of current affairs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very interesting, because you find most young people, or watch maybe the news like here and there, but mostly they obviously watch like fiction or whatever, cartoons, whatever is going on.
Oh, yes.
So it's very interesting how obviously your parents, like your dad's career, just influenced what you were watching, what you were consuming from when you were young. So growing up, are you an only child?
I have a sister.
You're the oldest or the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Okay. Your mommy's boy.
I am actually.
Okay. Yeah. One of those.
And part of that was what I was telling you just now, as in she just said, "Is that what you want to do?" Go ahead. So that's one of the advantages. Definitely, I think my sister had it harder.
I'm a firstborn, so yes. I know.
Oh,
we take all the younger ones, they get away with murder.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I managed to get away with a lot of pivots in my life. Say, no, I want to do this, but no, I actually want to do this, and then no, I actually want to do this, and they were like, okay. So
take me through all those pivots, and then how you then finally landed to where you are, and how that has grown.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, growing up in this environment, I used to watch Super a lot. Super. He used to have this program on TV called what was the name of? Oh,
Superman 101. Yes, you used to have this. What was it called? It was like a current affairs kind of program. I remember. Was it? What is it? I can't remember. Yeah, but I remember.
I think it was Talking Business.
Yes, yeah, it was Talking Business. It was
my
Talking
favorite.
Business. Yeah.
My favorite thing to watch on TV. When others would be watching other things, that was my favorite thing to watch on TV. I think it was Monday night at 8:30. I think I still remember. And then there was Market Matters, and then there were other programs with the likes of Kwimbira Nongo. I used to watch a lot of stuff with Barry. So these were sort of my role models locally. Growing up, these are the guys that I
you looked up.
I looked up to. But interestingly enough, I had despite the business and the interest in business, I actually was very much an artist. And soon after college, I decided that I wanted to be a photographer.
Really?
Yes.
What did you study?
Marketing.
Oh.
I studied marketing. But soon after college, I was like, I actually want to be a photographer.
Okay.
And again, my mom was like, Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
She supported the journey, and I became a photographer for some time.
Wow.
Luckily enough, I was able to do photography in advertising within the context of advertising. So I was still doing marketing and advertising and photography at the same time. So that was actually what I did for a good 10 years.
Wow.
I think soon after college. And then, but I also was fascinated with marketing and business. And soon after that, I had an opportunity to work in South Africa. I went, and that taught me a lot about the industry. Came back to Zim as a creative director. And
in SA, you're working in the advertising agency,
Yes,
like in an agency.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I was working in an agency, and then came back to Zim when an opportunity came up to be a creative director. And after a while, I was like, I think I'm good at this. Let me try this out on my own.
What year was this?
Oh my God. This was 2018.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yes. And then I came, and then I started my own agency, because called Sierra, and we did that for 2 years. COVID hit us.
Oh,
Hit us hard. Hit us bad.
I think a lot of creative people.
Yes. So, our offices closed down. We're now working from home. Luckily, I had, some clients that kept us alive during that time. They didn't leave. They didn't stop spending, which was great. And we're working from home. And came out of COVID, pivoted again, and started also continued with my creative agency as well. But now under the name Nyengeterai, because I was now operating solo. And that is what I do today. I'm Nyengeterai. Yes.
Jim Gray.
Nyengeterai.
Gin Gray.
Yes.
Gin like gin the...
No, not like gin like that.
Just asking. I'm just wondering how we get to gin.
No. Nyengeterai is a character. Is a comic character in X-Men. Yeah.
Because I always get fascinated with names. I'm really fascinated with names. Every time I see someone I always ask, what is the root of this name? So every time I ask people when I see a name that's a bit unusual, like, how do you come up with these kind of names?
No. This one is a comic character. I'm a fan of the series. She is a powerful mutant, powerful character, and that's how I envisioned myself to be. That's what we wanted.
A superhero
Yes,
in the media industry.
Yes. So I've been in media, and I've been in business. I think over the last 2 years, I've sort of gone fully into consultancy and trainings. That's what I'm doing now. Trying to grow the brand locally and internationally. This is Paul now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's really fascinating. Because I'm just thinking, I didn't know this part of you, when I was looking at what you're currently doing, because I really want to understand what made you start like reading up, writing up. And so at least you've given me a lot.
Okay.
So can you tell our viewers what you actually do and why you do it and how you get around to doing that? Because I'm just fascinated about the interest there. Because normally, how it is. After a while, you're like, there's too much work, I would think. What keeps you going, and how did you even start?
That's true. So a lot of people know me from online, TikTok. I do a lot of videos on business and marketing, and that started out funnily enough as I wanted to bring clients to my business. So it's like, let me just do a few videos, maybe get some clients, but it then turned into something where a place where I express my view of the world, how I understand things, and apparently I understand a lot of things.
Very interesting, actually.
Yeah. And it seems like I've been gathering these thoughts and ideas. But I'm also an author. I've written 2 books so far. And so I have a lot of time to think about ideas, then try and express them. One of my first jobs, I think concurrently with the photography, was being a copywriter. So I write. And so I'm able to put down my thoughts in a very logical manner. And that has helped, with all the content and the videos. Because I'm able to, sort of think through what I want to say, do my research, and then be able to present it. The presenting really came from high school public speaking. That was really, high school debate and high school public speaking. That's where I learned those skills. And that has proved very useful to me as an adult now because I preach a lot, I talk to people a lot, I do seminars, I do trainings. That has been extremely helpful.
Wow.
You never think about it when you're doing it in ISP.
Yeah.
How it's going to help you, but that's also been quite. It's helped me be confident. My day job consists of meeting clients. Mostly these are businesses that want either a training, consultancy. They've got a particular issue. They've got a particular problem. They want to launch a product. They want due diligence on what they're thinking. Let's say you want to launch a business. Like, okay, I've done my research, but I want a second pair of eyes. Paul, what do you think? Are my assumptions correct? Or I want to launch a business. I'm not sure where my revenue streams could be. Where I think I've figured it out. But Paul, could you please come and look at my revenue streams? And sort of being in marketing and business has given me sort of that eye to say, there's potential here, there's potential here. There's no market here. There's no market here. Try this, try this, try this. So that's basically what I do. I meet mostly business owners, marketing teams, and say, okay, Paul, we're launching this, or we want to go to market with this. What do you think? And I give them my honest opinion. I've been in the industry in various roles for a while. So copy-wise, I can tell them. Visually, I can tell them. And whether it's going to resonate with the market or not, I can also tell them, say, oh, okay, no, this message, no. Yeah.
And your TikTok videos.
Yes.
And how do you come up with the topics? And yeah, it's really good. How do you come up with the topics and what you're going to talk about? Does it just randomly come, or do you like sit and structure and, because I find it's quite, it's deep. It's short, but it's deep,
So TikTok is hard work. I know it does not seem like hard work. It's actually hard work. So if you have an idea or a thought, right, you want to go and research it. If you have an assumption, you want to go and research it. So I think earlier when I started TikTok, I actually used to do a lot of research. I used to do research papers. If I have an idea and the thought, and I want to say, do I want to confirm my bias, or do I want someone to challenge this idea? And then I read about it, research on it, and then present it. So
did you say you'd write a research paper?
No. I used to read.
Okay. I was like,
research paper. I used to read them.
Research paper for TikTok.
No. I used to read a lot of them.
Okay.
Is part of my research. Okay. You definitely want to go into the world well informed.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to have sources. You want to know what you're talking about. Thousands of people are going to see what you are saying, and you do not want to appear like you do not know what you're saying. So you definitely have to go there with a strong knowledge base. Say, this is what I want to talk about, and you research. And then, it takes a lot of alone time to come up with those ideas. So I have a lot of time alone.
Do you have a social life?
It's very small.
Okay.
I do, but it's very small.
Okay.
But it takes a lot of alone time.
All right.
It takes a lot of reading. So I would say that's what I do a lot. I read a lot. I read a lot. I read fiction, non-fiction. I read everything. I see you've got a great collection.
I love reading. I also love reading.
Yeah.
Thanks to my parents as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I read a lot, and then I think about a lot about what I'm reading. So I read current affairs, non-fiction, fiction, and then from that you come up with ideas. And then you research them, and then you talk about them. These days it's much easier. I'm now more fluent. I'm better at doing it. So I can come up with an idea, read about it today, make a video on it today. Back then it was
days.
Wow. To do it. But yeah.
But your videos are so much fun. When you're going to record, I mean, like, what makes you choose a certain topic? What is it? Is it because something is happening then, or you found interest in it, or what makes you?
So I'm always going for ideas that disrupt our thinking. The whole idea actually with the TikTok page is let's disrupt ourselves. There is a certain way that we think as Zimbabweans, there's a certain way that we think as Africans. So anything that challenges that, for me, is an interesting topic. Why do we think this way? And if you're feeling challenged by the idea, why are you feeling challenged? Is who, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always interested in, let's disrupt the way we do things. As a country, there's a certain way that we think. If I'm sure you've been out of the country before, there's a certain way that different countries think, and there's a certain way that we think as a country. Anything that disrupts that kind of thinking is, for me, an interesting idea, because sometimes you can go your whole life without your opinions ever being challenged if you never leave home, or if you never have anybody who challenges how you do things. So in my mind in my mind, the whole idea is mental disruption. Let's disrupt our culture. Let's disrupt how we think, and in that way be better Zimbabweans. There are certain things that we do that we don't question that could serve with questioning. Yeah. So anything for me that is an interesting topic for me.
What's the hardest thing that you believe creators in Zimbabwe are struggling with in Zim right now?
I would say I was having this conversation yesterday with a creator friend. It's right now we are at a pivot with creators. You know, the introduction of AI, what's happening with our economy, what's happening globally. We are at a pivoting moment. The traditional setup isn't going to work anymore. And creators need to pivot to what's new today. I know fantastic creators and who were doing great 5 years ago, who are not doing great now because the market is completely shifted.
Evolved, yeah.
And I think we're at a great pivot. I was telling someone yesterday that we are at a point where this is our greatest opportunity or our greatest threat. If a young man in his bedroom with internet access and a laptop can create a music video with AI at no cost, what does that do to somebody who is in the industry? Who
in the whole studio?
Yes. Who is looking to create, music videos or create content? If Google, there's that website that can create podcasts from content that you give it, what does that mean to somebody who has a whole studio, who has a podcast? So we are in a great big moment where we definitely need to pivot as creatives.
Because my background is marketing. Well, I actually studied psychology and sociology. I love people. I love studying people. But when I finished, I then did marketing afterwards. And I was in marketing for years. And I worked for a multinational. So I loved, because we were given that opportunity to become intrapreneurs within the business. But what I find is when I look at Zim, especially our local companies, it's the way that adverts are done or the creative aspect of it, especially the videos that use people's music. I want to understand your thoughts from a creative perspective. When you look at the industry and you look at the companies in Zim, how we could better, because you're a solution provider.
True.
How would you provide, how, as a solution provider, if you look at the landscape, our marketing landscape in Zim and the companies and what's being produced, what do you think we should be changing, and how do you think we should be what we should be doing going forward,
That's an excellent question, and I will preach about this. Please feel free to stop me if I
so because it's my pet peeve, because I really get, so I think, I will go on and I'll be like, okay, so
I am very passionate about that topic. It first of all starts with the thinking, which is what I'm really on about, trying to disrupt the way we think. Because the end result of what we're seeing is a reflection of who we are and how we're thinking. Right. So how do we run creative business? I'm so happy you're in marketing and you've been outside. You know how agencies are run properly.
Yeah.
And how creativity flourishes, first and foremost. So we are not being creative because we're not giving the creator space. Everybody's trying to make shortcuts. You'll be surprised that a lot of the creatives in South Africa who are making waves in South Africa are Zimbabweans. I've been to the Luris, and you'll be surprised how many Zimbabweans there are who are running the creative space. So it's not that we are not a creative people. It's that the space we're in right now doesn't allow for creativity, for creatives to flourish. We need a space where creatives flourish. I always talk about also these jingles. You cannot have a jingle being made and there's no musician in the room. The reason why we now have these abominations of mixing up songs that are already it's because we are not willing to pay a musician to come into the room and actually make a good jingle for us. So what we're doing is we're just saying that has already been done. That's already nice. People already like it. Let's just put our name in there. That is bad. That is the worst kind of creativity.
Terrible.
We could have. And if one brand sees it and says, "Oh, that's a shortcut. I could save money with that," then they'll copy it, and then the next guy will copy it, and that pushes creatives out of the space. First and foremost, marketing and advertising is both a science and an art. Before it is profit. We're not focusing on the science and the art. We're focusing on the
Profit.
On the profit. I don't blame the musicians. It's a payday for them. Fine. But we don't have people who are strong enough to say, as an agency, we do not do that. And let the money go. We used to have people like that. We even used to have, agency owners who used to fire clients because they were willing to let the money go for the creativity. We don't have that anymore. The economy is hard, and people are like, okay, if I have an opportunity to make money, I'll do it. But I can't blame it entirely on the economy. It's also how we are thinking. We are being reflected in our. I always say that advertising is a reflection of the people.
Of the people.
If you come from the airport and you look at the billboards in any country, you can learn a lot about the country by just looking at the billboards from the airport, because they are a reflection of what's happening within
the country.
The country. So advertising is a reflection of who we are. And it's not a very good look right now. We're not looking very good in the mirror right now.
Because for me, what really, with my background as well, is what frightens me, or should I say frightens me, is when I look at the quality and the production of the billboards, the radio jingles, I said, when you're watching TV in South Africa or in America, you actually enjoy the adverts. You actually really look forward to it. So if you had a magic wand and we were saying you could and change things in the industry, what is the one thing you would start with?
I would start at agency level. More younger, fresher agencies. More companies opting for smaller agencies. All the creativity is in the smaller agency. All the good stuff is with these young people that know how to use the software and so on and so on. There are a lot of young creative people. But I can tell you right now, I would not encourage anybody to start a small creative agency. I've done it, I can tell you. It's because we're not treated as proper businesses. You are on the last of people who are going to be paid. You can only charge so much and so on. And there's a lot of gatekeeping as well. So if I could change anything, I would say lots of young people who have an opportunity in the economy to start creative agencies that will grow to be the bigger creative agencies. It's the same way in South Africa. Of course, you've got your big multinationals, but you've got a lot of good, young, specialized agencies. You can have an agency that just says, we just do AI, and that's it. There's an agency that can just do copy. Say, we are just good writers. There's an agency that says, we just do jingles. If you want a jingle, come to us. It employs musicians and writers and so on and so on. So that environment, for me, it would go up to a point where we see good work coming from us. But right now, as it is, there are a few big agencies and there's no quality control. No one really cares. And they get the money. So that's what I would change in a heartbeat. And hopefully kind of create the environment that attracts our talent back. In as much as a country we're losing engineers, and we are also losing creative people. And it's beginning to show. If we're losing our best creative talent, it's showing now that, people are going because of better opportunities outside. In as much as an engineer is important to a country, a creative is also important to a country, and we're losing those as well.
I was actually going to go to that next because I get this sense that I think a lot of people look down on creative people, and in fact, I think a lot of people look down on just that whole creative industry. And I'm not talking just the branding aspect or the agents. I'm talking music. I'm talking art. I'm talking, literally whether creating instrument, whatever. I find that a lot of people, especially I would say in African culture, not just because it's not just Zim, they look down upon, because if you're not an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer, it's like, then who are you, So how do we encourage people who are at school now to want to get into the creative industry with the way things are? Considering you're coming from that back, what would you do? Because they'll probably look and say, the sums are not adding up. Let me go do engineering. But maybe they're not. They're an artist, they're whatever. How do we, because at the end of the day, we won't have that talent coming. So how do we encourage with your background, how would you encourage?
We need to make the creative industry pay. So there are two solutions, top down. The top down one would be make the creative industry pay. If you are in other countries and you say, I want to be a musician, it makes sense because it pays. You could be a multimillionaire overnight. All right. So there is that attraction already to say, hey, this is an industry. It's an industry that pays. How do we make industries that pay? Is if we are able to brand our art. And I could go on about this, right? So if we don't have music that we can sell outside the country, our industry cannot pay. If we've got one artist that is known internationally, the music industry cannot pay. If we can't make movies, the industry can't pay. If we can't make things to put on Netflix, the industry can't pay. So we need to brand what we are producing, the art that we're producing in this country, so that other people will look at it and say, wow, that's amazing. An example, Jamaicans, branded music, everybody enjoys it. Jamaica is a very small country, much smaller than Zimbabwe, right? But they've got this thing where it pays. So when your child says, I want to be an artist in Jamaica, you're like, okay, it makes sense. Do that, right? We have very few things that we're able to brand well that can actually pay. So that's the, top-down approach. Are we able to package what we have and sell it so that it pays? The bottom-up approach would be, we are elitist in the same way that you have alluded to, that, doing arts is not as glamorous as, doing sciences and commercials. And that approach is wrong. These days, if anything, the humane arts are at the center of government, of the arts. It's where really the money is. We're not creating opportunities for the arts. If you do arts, you're going to be a lawyer, and then that's it. But there are so many other opportunities that are that are there that we're not exploring, either within our educational system and within government and so on. So those are the two approaches. Regard art as a business, we haven't had good examples of artists who have made it, or artists who have made it and kept their wealth. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At some point, some of our artists, after 20 years, after having been a hit, they're now looking for donations. You know what I mean? So there's that. And I think the National Arts Council, really needs to look into it. How do we make art pay? So top down, yeah. And then just, encourage that. Being a storyteller in a society is as important as being an engineer. Our societies, particularly African societies, we're built on storytelling. We need to be able to tell our own story. The reason why we buy things from Italy is because Italy has managed to tell their story very well. So when we say Italian made, or when we say this is from this country, you're French, yes, they've managed to tell their story very well. That's That part is done by storytellers. The reason why there's a premium on anything that's Italian or French is because it's a story that they've managed to tell very well. So the reason why we are paid to go to concerts of these international musicians, the reason why we support football that is from other countries, it's because they've managed to tell a story very well that we subscribe to, that we want to be a part of. The reason why we wear their jerseys is because we want to be part of the story. That all of that is done by storytellers, and storytellers, they're in the arts. So yeah, there's that.
Besides the storytelling, what about the brand? Almost like, you know how like it's subtle, but it's there. You know, like the country branding. You know, so we've got your Italy. You know, and people are so fascinated with the way they speak, the Italians, the French. I mean, in Africa, look at Nigeria. I think in Africa, in terms of branding, like Nigeria has, you know, they've done a very good job in terms of whether it's their music, the plays movies. It's just everything, but even the way they do their things and whatever. Where do you feel like as a country in terms of Zim, our branding, our brand equity, what could we do to improve on our country brand equity?
Thank you so much for that question. We need to give brand Zimbabwe to Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans know better. I always say this, let's remove brand Zimbabwe from politics. It's not a political movement. It's a people thing. We need to put brand Zimbabwe into the hands of Zimbabweans. They know their story. And we have wonderful stories to tell. So that's number one. Create a community of Zimbabweans that tell the Zimbabwean story in their own way. Supported maybe by government, sure. Supported by the corporate sector, sure. But completely owned by Zimbabweans. That's number one. And there are so many things about Zimbabwe that are unique about this country that we just don't know how to sell. We have the Mbira, we have stone sculptures. And I'll give you a very interesting example I use in my trainings. You know the Had Mashona cow? That is one of the best cow breeds in the world. Only found here. It's an 8,000-year-old breed cow, right? That is some of the best qualities you can have on a cow. It's drought resistance, it's pest resistance, it doesn't get sick easily, right? And it's designed to live in dry areas. The milk from a Mashona cow is rich because normally the cow is born in an area where it's already dry. It's a dry savanna. The milk is rich, which means the cheese is rich. The hide is hard, makes very good leather. The steak is amazing, and it's that white natural steak, and fat. Like there are so many wonderful things about this cow, the Mashona cow. Its pelvis is angled in such a way that it's able to give birth on its own. If you know anything about farming, sometimes we have to go and help a cow give birth. No, the Mashona cow can give birth on its own. If you've ever experienced that, you can wake up in the morning and a cow has given birth by itself. Not many cow breeds can do that. It's such a wonderful specimen. But it is also the cheapest cow that we have. We have failed to brand it. We have failed to talk about it in such a way that it's valuable. So right now, if let's say you can buy a Mashona cow for $300, if we manage to brand it well, and a Mashona cow all of a sudden costs $1,000, what does that do to the wealth of our farmer? We have 6 cows at home. All of a sudden, things have changed. We're able to sell the milk, then make the cheese, and the steak and the leather, So a failure to brand the country is a tragedy because there's so many wonderful things about this country that we can brand. We keep harping on about Victoria Falls. It's just one.
Just a little entity.
A sliver of who we are. I won't even get into Great Zimbabwe and stonemasonry and, culture-wise.
Matopos.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have such a wonderful country.
Dombosha was just there.
Yes.
He's like amazing.
Do you know we have 150,000-year-old cave paintings in this country? Wow. From the very beginnings of human civilization. They're there in Mutoko. Wow. I heard about it from a friend who came from outside the country. I didn't know that. So, these are some of the things where you're like, we have wonderful things. We have stone sculptures, shown us stone sculptures in an airport in Germany. We don't have that at all on airport. The mbira is a uniquely Zimbabwean instrument. And when music students around the world are studying music anthropology, it is the first thing that they need to buy. They need to buy mbira because it was one of the most ancient instruments that is still alive today. Our ancestors were able to tune mbira without any experience in the world. They were able to tune it correctly. It's a wonderful invention, but we don't talk about. There's no, you can't talk about music and music history without talking about the mbira.
Especially in Zimbabwe.
We can't.
Because I first, we used to Vesikudara because of Stella Chweshe and whatever. You heard about the mbira, but that association. I remember growing up. We to be like, oh, the association with the mbira is like, let's not go there.
Yes.
But as I was growing up, and then my daughters were doing music, and the music teacher was like now teaching me, well, not teaching, but teaching them. But I got so interested in understanding the mbira and how it plays. And I was like, but how come people are not being taught? Because a lot of people associate the mbira with, our ancestors, and
Yes.
what. But I actually think it's such a beautiful instrument. But how do we get around that?
How do we get around branding that for ourselves? Because let me tell you, the mbira is being taught in universities across the world by people who have never been to this country. It's a beautiful instrument that I think it should be on our carrot. That's how big it is, because it's a uniquely...
It's Zimbabwean.
Yes, and it's very old. But we do not have the branding around it. We do not have the branding around it. It's branding. It's telling the story about it and making people want to be part of it. We need to tell the story. We need to tell that story. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Sure, you know what? I still have so many questions and we could go on, but I know we are running out of time. So I'm going to do a few fun questions.
Okay.
But I think we need to continue this conversation because I really feel like it's really with my background and with what's happening. If we look in the world, the creative industry, the marketing, they're leading and they're pushing because that's the direction that people are going. They need more creativity. They need more... now companies overseas have chief inspiration officers. You're there just to make sure that the branding, inspiring the employees, the brand, and it's all coming from a creative perspective. And that's where the big companies are going to. And I hope the country will go in that direction. But anyway, our conversation, what's your favorite color and why?
Someone asked me that question yesterday and I said gray. And they said gray is a shade, it's not a color.
I was about to actually say gray is a color,
So I might have to rethink my favorite color now.
Why gray though?
It fits everywhere. It fits everywhere. It's not offending. It's not. You can wear all gray. It goes with almost any other color as well.
Really?
Yes.
Never thought about it that way. Maybe I'll look at it. And your favorite animal and why?
Oh, I'm a Shumba, so it's a given. Yeah.
I'm a Shumba as well.
That's a given.
It's a given.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book that you've read that made an impact on your life?
It's a book that I got last year. It's called How Big Things Get Done.
Who's that by?
I forgot the author.
Okay, but it's fine. Yeah.
But it's important who it came from. A friend of mine called Ryan Keynes, and it's called How Big Things Get Done. So, if you've ever asked yourself the question, how do you do monumental things in life, for your own life? And how do you do big ideas? How do big things get done? How do you do the biggest things on the world? And that's sort of helped me because I'm trying to build a big brand. I'm trying to build a brand that is, international. So that was a really impactful book. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I think I'm going to look for it. And then in terms of a movie, what's the most inspiring or most memorable movie you've watched?
I only like really one movie that I think is the best movie ever made.
Okay.
It's called Inception.
Really? No.
You've never heard it? You should watch it. I think it's one of the best. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll look for it.
It's from 2010.
Oh, I'll look for it. And music? What's your your favorite music? Or when you're winding down, what do you listen to? What really gets you
I'm a proper house head, so I listen to a lot of house.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite house music?
Afro house. So your Sanel musician, that's my stuff. That's my jam. Driving at home, relaxing. That's my sort of, it's Afro house. I really love that genre in general. Not Amapiano. Afro house.
Okay.
Very different.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you look at your life and the pivots and the things that you've gone through, what would you say are your 5 life lessons that you'd want to give our viewers?
5 life lessons. Oh, that's a lot. The first one would be, especially if you're younger, trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. Trust in that voice. Trust in that gut feeling. Trust it. I don't know if you're religious. You might think that it was put in you, or just trust. Things are going to work out. It's all going to make sense one day. If you haven't taken this pivot, or if this hadn't happened, you're going to see that it's all going to align. So trust. Don't be afraid to take the risks. Don't be afraid to start over. It's in starting over sometimes that we find ourselves. Do not be afraid, and do not have possessions that control you. This is very important. This was a life lesson for me. Sometimes we work our whole lives trying to amass things, and then those things ground us to where they are. Do you understand what I mean? And you realize that my life, I'm held down by possessions and by things. I had the opportunity to live in a backpackers camp at some point, and I watched people from across the world, not tied down by things, just drift in and out. And you can realize having things is a mentality. Because, listen, things can never be enough. But make sure that your life is not being tied down by things that you bought with your money that are now tying you down. There's a whole world out there to explore. Do not be tied down to one place by the things that you deliberately bought. They're just things at the end of the day. You are the most important of the things. So, what else? Give people a chance. Give people a chance. I have been given chances many times by people that didn't have to believe in me, that people that had no reason to believe in me. My first job in advertising at DDB #3, I was scouted by the MD when I was doing a completely different job. And he just kind of said, I like your energy. Come to my office. And he offered me a job. Didn't know if I could do it or not. He had no idea. And from there, one of the people that I was working with were like, hey, Paul, there's a company that I'm starting. I would like you to come and lead. Just people giving me chances my whole life. I can tell you that my life has been people just giving me chances. And I want to give that back. To say sometimes just trust in people. If you have a good feeling about a person, a gut feeling about a person, give people chances. It's not that your academic background is what's going to get you ahead in life. A lot of the times it's people just looking at you and saying, you know what? I like this guy. Yeah. Right. Is that 5?
3.
We're on 3 now.
2 more.
I've got 2 more. Okay, cool. So we said we already talked about gut instinct.
Yes.
I think the life lesson that I'm learning now, today, is dream big. Sometimes the only thing that's stopping you is you, because you've never experienced it before, or because you're unsure. Dream big. You are actually very good. You are actually doing okay. Dream big. There's a whole world out there, and it's not necessarily defined by things, but also by thinking. What I have done with my life is I'm just spreading ideas about what I think about the world. And sometimes it opens up doors for you. And also, these days, personal branding, brand yourself, please. Brand yourself. Do a lot of personal branding. People sometimes, I think these days, buy more from the brand, the personal brand, than from...
I train on personal branding. I'm so passionate about it.
Really? Yes. Yeah. Learn how to market yourself. Over and above everything, before you market the product, learn how to market you.
Okay. I think, that would be okay because, where you stopped is perfect. If this was your last day on earth and you're about to transcend, what is the one thing that you'd say, okay, you know what, God, whatever you believe in, I'm ready to go because I've done what? What is the one thing that you know, what, if I do this, or if I've achieved this, or if I've served this way, I'll be happy.
If I manage to transfer some of what I have into my daughter, I would have done a great job. If I manage to transfer some of this into her, if I manage to make her have my worldview and, see the world how I see it, I would have done a great job. So that's one of my personal goals, to say, I want to be able to transfer all the good things that I've known, or all the thoughts, everything. Say, hey, this is what I'm leaving you. Just, that would be a good day for me.
So I always get fascinated when, especially men, when they say, you're not the first person who said this to me. When you say you want to transfer what you know, the knowledge, especially to your daughters, because African culture, they love to my son, to your daughter. Tell me, when you became a parent, a father to a daughter, how did that make you feel?
It is. I cannot explain how beautiful it is being a father to a daughter. Daughters are so good. They are affectionate. They're very loving, and you have that sense of protection. You want to protect them, and you protect them by whatever means. You are their protector. In my situation, my daughter's mom passed away, so I'm both a mom and a dad, and I have this very protective aura around her, and I wanted to do well. I don't want her to feel like she's missing out on anything because her mom isn't here, and I want to give her the world, literally.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just in love with that, being a dad and being able to want to give everything. I think that's why I work hard. If she's happy, I'm happy.
I was about to actually ask you, how has her being on this earth or her being around you shaped who you've become?
Absolutely. That's given me purpose. That's given. And now, because she's a little older, and she compliments me when she sees me, or she sees me on TV, or she sees me anywhere. She attends my events now, my seminars, and so I was like, oh, that was really good, Dad. And I bumped into a notebook the other day, and she was writing notes of what I was saying at a seminar. And, it's just like, oh, you listen to what I say. This is good. She's growing up, and, she's taking notes of the things I'm saying. That's a great achievement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Just in your face when you were saying, oh, right here. It was like beaming, and it's so beautiful to watch. I love that. When I see dads like shining, or when they're talking about it, it really makes a huge difference, because I'm a girl child person, and I've also got girls as well. But I love it when girls are given, especially that opportunity to be loved by their fathers. I think a lot of girls lose that.
True.
If we were packing our bags and we have our passports and we were going to the airport, where would we be flying off to?
To Cape Town. We will be going to Cape Town.
Wow, why Cape Town?
Cape Town has got the right combination of, it's European, it's African, and it's got the right mix. You're in Africa, which is the motherland, which I love. But there's also a standard that's there that's not found anywhere else in the world. So Cape Town has got, it has the right mix. I don't think I'd be happy in London. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't think I'd be happy in Frankfurt. I think Cape Town has got the right mix of, Ubuntu, African culture, European culture.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I went to UCT. I love Cape Town. I love Cape Town. I love the way it is, and just the cultures there. It's such a nice vibe.
It is
a beautiful vibe.
It has the right mix. It's not Shanghai. It's got, you're in Africa. You're home. At the end of the day, you see other people that look like you, but also at the same time, there's a world standard about it. So it's like living in Africa Premium.
Yeah, outside living in Africa. Brilliant. That's a nice one. I like it. So as we close off the show, what is the one thing that you'd want to tell our viewers as they're going into the week?
Don't doubt yourself. The little voice inside you that tells you, don't doubt yourself. Some of the best outcomes of your life will come from you being able to listen to yourself. At some point, Nyenge, you listened to yourself about this podcast. You know what I mean? It didn't have to make sense. It didn't have to make money. It didn't have to do anything. You listened to yourself. You listened to that little voices. This is what I want to do. So, yeah, some of the best outcomes. There is nothing as bad as living your life and making all the right decisions. And then at the end of the day, you're like, there's nothing that I love here. There's nothing that I actually am passionate about here. I always say this when people make compromises, to say, one day you wake up and you say, I hate everything about this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It was the right decision at the time. It made sense at the time, but I hate everything about this. But the things that you're passionate about, you will never hate them. You wake up every morning and say, I'm grateful I made that decision at that point in my life. So yes, listen to yourself. Listen to the world, but listen to yourself. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. So to our viewers, as you're going into the week, remember to listen to yourself. Take time. One thing I loved about what Paul said was that he has a lot of alone time, to think. And I think when we create that space to just be alone, we have time to listen to that inner voice. So do take time to listen to your inner voice, and don't forget to dream big. I'll see you next week. Have a fantastic week.